channel, guys. Today I have my friend Jennifer.
Hi.
She is going to be doing a little Q&A session with me. Okay, so the first question for you is, when did you realize that, or like when was like your first encounter that you had like with Jesus?
The first encounter, so like for those who don't know, I was raised in a Christian home all my life. You know, I went to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, you know, like did the whole children's school and then Bible study, like young adults and like youth and all that stuff. But I think the first time I really encountered the Lord was when I was like 13 or 14. I remember my friend's mom, she like came over and she prayed for me, and like I definitely knew that it was like the Holy Spirit, like right then and there, and I was like, wow, like this is something I don't want to ever lose. Like I don't want this to go away.
Well, I didn't
you know
even
what
know
I mean?
that.
What, for real?
Yeah.
No, yeah, like I don't know, it was one of those moments that I was like, wow, God, like you're so, like I've known about you all my life, but like now I really know you. And definitely like growing up, I always wanted my relationship with the Lord to get stronger, but it's like, you know, as a young person, like it comes and goes here and there. But then when I was like 16, 17, I was like, yeah, like I definitely want to dedicate my life to the Lord, and like I don't want to do what everyone else does. I want to like be a leader, like not just inside the church, but like wherever God sends me, whether it's at school, at work. So like around that age, I was like, all right, God, like let's do this. Okay, so as someone who's constantly, you know, like doing YouTubes like this, you know, sharing your testimonies, sharing how God can use you in like so many different ways and places, like what encourages you to continue to like, you know, do this, you know?
I think one of the things that have pushed me to keep going is honestly the response of the people, because obviously I don't like do it like for people, like for like their applause or like stuff like that, but like I see people being positively impacted by what I'm doing.
You heard that? Comment down below and she'll read it.
I read all the comments because they're not that many yet, but you know, if one day they're a lot, I still want to be able to like it's literally the people that are watching, like my subscribers and like all my friends and family out there who watch my videos. Maybe you don't understand what's going on, but like you watch them, so that like that encourages me a lot.
Yeah.
Because obviously I was scared before starting it. I was very like should I start it? Like should I not start it? And it took me like 2 years almost to actually start it after the idea. But I would say definitely like the response of the people and just seeing how like not only them but like the Lord just like showing me like, you see, like you're obeying me and I'm speaking to these people through you, you know.
And not only that, like what you're doing, being so bold about your faith, not everybody does that, mostly on social media, you know. And like just somebody watching your video, like that encourages them to be bold about their faith, whether it's posting a video also or on their Instagram, you know, even posting a Bible verse like on their IG story. Like
also follow our Instagrams. I'm gonna put it down here so you guys can.
Okay. Oof. Okay. No, but yeah, like you're encouraging someone else. Like you're being encouraged by something else that the Lord placed in your heart, but you're encouraging someone else. And like even if you're watching this, like I encourage you to be bold about your faith, even on social media, or whether it's at your house. Like maybe you go to, you know, a school that's not Christian and you're surrounded by a lot of non-Christian friends. Like I really do encourage you to like not be afraid about your faith and be bold.
You want to move on to the next question?
Do you want to ask me or?
Yeah, I'll ask you. Okay.
This is all improv, guys. We did not rehearse this, so.
A little bit improv. So, okay, this kind of goes along with the question and what you answered before, but what was it like growing up for you as a Christian?
Well, definitely like how you were saying, like I wouldn't do what other people would do. Like I'd be like, oh my gosh, but it wasn't because I would be scared or like I felt like it was the Lord. It was more like my parents, you know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, my parents are gonna kill me, my parents are gonna think I'm this or I'm that, and like I would always have that fear, I guess, about like feeling comfortable with myself. But growing up, I wasn't open about my faith. I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm a Christian. And the only reason why is because I would see a lot of people that would call themselves Christians and like not do the like Christian thing to do. You know what I mean? So not that I was ashamed, but I was like, I don't want to be labeled as that person. And I remember one time, I think this was like my freshman or sophomore year of high school, this kid, he sat next to me like in our math class and he goes, hey Jennifer, you're a Christian, right? And I'm like, yeah, like that's so weird. Like, why would you ask me that?
Yeah.
And he goes, nothing. Like, I just asked because, like, the way that you are, you know what I mean? Like, you're not like everybody else. And like, I saw that, and I was so grateful that he said that, because I was like, thank you. Like, that's what I want people to see. Like, now for people to think that I'm like this totally different person, but it's like, I want people to see the Lord in me, so that way I don't have to be walking around saying, oh yeah, I'm a Christian. Like, people come up to me and they're like, no, yeah, like people come up to me and say, oh, you must be a Christian. Like, what's so different about you? And like, one of my favorite verses in Matthew, where it says, be the light of the world, and how a light doesn't stay under in the dark. It like hidden. It you know, it shows its light everywhere it goes. It's like Matthew 5 or something, or 8. And I always had that verse in my heart, and like, that's something that I always wanted to be, you know, like something that where people saw me, they're like, well, she's so different. Like, I want to talk to her. Like, I want to have what she has. I want to have that like joy, that happiness, you know, that like energy or whatever. But yeah, definitely, like, growing up, that's something I always wanted. I wasn't the type of person to like kind of like, oh, let me pray for you, like at school, or like, oh, let me do this, let me do that. But obviously, when I got older, since I was opening up more about my faith, I was constantly like, literally, like, you can ask, like, at my youth, I invited like half of my school. Like, even though like half of them never stayed, but like at least someone from like my school ended up going, and I was thankful, because again, it's like, you never know what seed you're planting in their life. But yeah, that's how it was like for me growing up, really.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think for me it was different, because growing up, like, my parents were very, very, very strict. So for me, like, yes, like, I had my encounters with Jesus 100%, but for the most part, like, I did not want to go to church. I didn't want to do any of that. I literally would go home and just throw my Bible somewhere, and I'm like, I don't want to see this book. Like, what is this? I would never read my Bible. Like, I'm kind of like a little bit sad to say this, but in a lot of times, like, I did feel ashamed of like, because I was always singled out, because not like, it wasn't like publicized that I was a Christian. And honestly, that was me, because I don't know, I guess it's not that I didn't want people to know, like, people knew, but like, I don't know. Growing up, I grew up very like, a lot of people knew me, which is funny, because like, with strict parents, like, you shouldn't be like so known, but like, I've always had like a lot of friends, I've known a lot of people, and like, when they'd ask me like, oh, let's go to this party, or let's do this, or let's do that, I'd always have to make excuses. Oh no, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't tell them that it was because I was going to church, because I was ashamed. Like, I didn't want them to like judge me or like make me feel bad, but like, I wish that I grew up with the boldness that you grew up with, of just like saying like, like, Jesus is like for real. And I think that's why it took me so long to like, for real, like, make the decision of like, okay, I'm gonna follow Jesus because I want to follow him. Because I did grow up feeling that like shame, I guess, but now I'm just like, no, Jesus, everyone, like, everyone needs to know him. I don't care what your name is, I don't care where you're from, I don't care if you're a guy or a girl, I don't care. Like, Jesus loves you.
No, and just adding on to what you're saying, like, I wasn't a very like bold, you know, open person. Like, growing up, I was actually really shy. And like, you can ask like my cousins and my family members, like, I was like, we would have family gatherings and I would like sit in a corner and I didn't want to talk to nobody. But that's something that God literally like changed in me. He was like, you know what, like, that's
He works through you.
Exactly, like, that's the old you. Like, the new you is not like that. Like, the new you is more open. The new you is loud. She's like courageous. She isn't afraid to like open up about her faith. And like, that's like one of my biggest testimonies. Like, God literally like putting inside my heart, like, not being afraid. And I think a lot of times, like, mostly if anyone's watching and you're maybe a new believer or someone who's like very shy also, like God can literally change that. And I think the first way it starts is with prayer. Like, literally you sitting in your room and you're like, God, I don't want to be this person anymore. I want you to like literally transform me, change me from the inside out. Like, God, I want to be able to testify your name like wherever I go. And I think like that, just that prayer right there, like, God will literally change your mindset, your heart, your actions, just like, literally you're a new person, you know? And I think that's one thing I can testify, like, from who I was younger to who I am now. But yeah, I just encourage you, like, to really pray that prayer over your life.
I think that one thing that we can take away from this whole little Q&A, because we're coming to a close right now, is that me, like, Jennifer and me, like, we're not who we were like 4 years ago. We're not who we were like when we were in high school. Like, the Lord has been changing us like every single day, and like, thank God we're not the people that we were, because now we stand with the boldness that we didn't have before. And like, maybe you're not outgoing, maybe you're not loud, like, you can be shy, but the way that you are is the way that the Lord can use you just like that to like speak to other people. So I just wanted to encourage you with that. We're gonna close this out, but I just wanted to encourage you with that, like the Lord can change you. The Lord can give you that boldness. Like, it's all about your willingness and your heart, and He can do it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna post another video soon.
With me?
Maybe one day, probably.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a kind of a series of videos with my friends, kind of just talking about different things. This was number 1, obviously.
I'm number 1.
She's not number 1, just kidding. But so I'm gonna try to be posting weekly after this, and be more consistent in my posting. But I hope you guys like this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day or night or wherever you're at. Bye.